Hey everyone, welcome to LoFi Yoga. Today's class will be 15 minutes of beginner yoga for balance. We'll start by lying down on our backs. Draw the right knee into the chest, and you can move that right knee from side to side, just waking up the hip. You can release the right leg down to the mat and draw the left knee in towards the chest. You can rock that knee from side to side, just waking up the hip. You can release that left leg back down to the ground and roll onto one side so you can push yourself up to seated. We'll be coming into a kneeling pose. Next, we'll be warming up the wrists and the hands. And while we're doing that, we'll be coming into a toe squat. Coming from kneeling, you can tuck your toes under so you come onto the balls of your feet. You may need to pull out the pinky toe if it's curling under and uncomfortable at all. You can bring your weight to sit back on the heels so you're stretching through the sole of the foot. Extending your right arm out from the body with the fingertips pointing down, palm facing out. We'll be moving into a wrist stretch, so using your left hand, grasp onto the right hand, lightly pulling it back, stretching through the front of the wrist, making sure to relax through the neck and shoulders. Moving on to the other side, you can extend that left arm out from the body, with the fingertips pointing down, palm facing out away from you. You can grasp onto the left hand with the right hand, pulling the fingers lightly back, stretching through the wrist. You can bring the hands back down to the floor and release the hold of the feet. It may feel good to bring the tops of the feet to the floor, maybe tap a few times. Coming to sit cross-legged, you can bring both hands behind the hips, inhaling to lift the chest, coming into a slight back bend, keeping the ribs hugged in, and rolling the shoulders open. Coming back to center, start tracing some large circles with your shoulders, just moving the upper body. The hips stay where they are. And then switching directions. Crossing at the ankles, you can make your way to hands and knees. From here, you can extend the right leg behind you. The right toes and right hip are facing down so you're not opening up towards the side. Spine is staying long so you're not caving in. You can alternate between flexing and pointing that right foot, stretching through the calf and the shin. Coming back to the right foot being flexed. You can extend that left arm out in front of you. Thumb is pointing up towards the sky. Stay strong through the hip and shoulders so you're not caving in anywhere. Bring the leg and the arm back down so you're at hands and knees once again. You can extend that left foot out behind you. Stay strong through the lower belly so the lower back stays long and is not caving in. Keeping the hip rolling down towards the floor, you can alternate between pointing and flexing the foot, again stretching in through the calf and the shin. Then flexing that left foot once more, with the toe and the hip pointing down towards the floor. You can extend that right arm out in front of you, with the thumb pointing up towards the sky. Try to keep the spine long, and still relaxing through the neck and shoulders. And coming back to hands and knees, you can curl the toes under and send the hips back for downward dog. Tailbone is pointing up towards the sky. Arms are long, chest is pressing in towards the thighs, letting the head hang heavy. You can alternate bending into one knee and then the other, stretching a little deeper through the calves and the hips. From here, you can extend the right foot up towards the sky, and with the left heel pressing into the ground, you can bend into that right knee so the right foot drops over towards the left side of your mat, stretching a little deeper through the hip and the side body. You can extend that right foot back up straight and square and draw the knee in towards your chest before placing your foot between your palms, just to the inside of the right hand. You can drop the left knee down to the ground, coming into a low lunge. With the fingertips on the ground, you can start to lengthen the chest forward. Slowly start to lift up with the hands, bringing the arms overhead, so biceps are along the ears, palms are facing in towards one another. Trying to relax through the shoulders so there's not any tension through the neck, and keep the tailbone lengthening towards the floor and lifting out of the lower back. Moving into a little back bend, start to lengthen the chest forward, shift the gaze up just a little bit, and start to move the arms back, maybe just a couple inches. Breathing through the center of the chest and keeping the lower belly engaged, keeping the low back safe. Come back up to neutral. Ensure that the knee is stacked over the ankle and definitely not going past the toes. Begin to bring that back knee up off the ground, rising up into crescent lunge. Arms stay overhead. Keeping a generous bend in the front knee, but you can also keep a bend in the back knee as well to keep the lower back safe. Keep breathing as we hold this pose just a little longer, working on strengthening the stabilizing muscles around the feet and the ankles. Start bringing some weight into the right leg and step that left foot forward about hip width distance from the right foot. Coming into chair pose, start to sit the hips back towards the heels. Tailbone is lengthening towards the ground, keeping the chest lifted, arms going overhead, biceps are along the ears. Stay relaxed through the neck and shoulders, pressing the shoulder blades down the back. Try to sit back a little bit deeper and keep breathing. On your next exhale, release the upper body down and come into a forward fold, keeping a generous bend in the knees. Just let the upper body be heavy. If you'd like, you can sway from side to side or front to back, or even grasp onto opposite elbows. And when you're ready, plant the hands down to the floor and step back to downward dog. Tailbone still lengthening towards the sky, pressing the chest in towards the thighs. Let the head be heavy. You can extend the left leg up towards the sky, coming into three-legged dog. And with the right heel pressing into the mat, start to bend into that left leg so the left foot drops over towards the right side of the body. Stretching through the left hip and side body. You can extend that left leg back straight and square and draw the left knee in towards the nose before stepping the foot between the palms. Coming into a low lunge, back knee drops down to the floor, top of the right foot coming to the floor. Make sure the left knee is stacked over the ankle. Chest is lengthening forward. And lift your arms overhead, biceps come along the ears, shoulders are dropping down. Finding your balance here. Coming into a slight back bend, start to lengthen the chest forward and shift the gaze up slightly. Hands are drawing back a few inches. Keep the core strong, lengthening out of the lower back. Coming back to neutral, curl the back toes under and start to lift the back knee off the ground. Coming into a crescent lunge. Arms are still overhead, shoulders dropping away from the ears, and tailbone is lengthening towards the floor. Bringing some weight into the left foot. Step forward with the right foot so the feet are hip width distance apart, coming into chair pose. Sit back with the hips. Tailbone is lengthening towards the floor, chest is staying lifted. Arms can stay overhead or they can be at heart center. And on your next exhale, release into a forward fold. You can alternate bending into one knee and then the other, stretching a little deeper through the hips, taking any movements that feel good. When you're ready, step back into downward dog. Arms are long with the chest pressing in towards the thighs. You can pedal into the feet or take any movements that feel good before we move into the next sequence. Extend the right leg back up towards the sky, keeping the hips straight and square. Draw the knee in towards the chest before stepping it between the palms. We'll be moving right into crescent lunge. Keeping the back knee lifted off the ground, start to raise the arms up overhead, making sure the right knee is stacked over the right ankle. We'll be moving into a twist, so bring the left arm out in front of you about shoulder height. And extend the right arm back behind you, both palms facing open towards the right. Staying strong through the legs, make sure that right knee is still bending, keeping the shoulders relaxed. And we'll reverse, bringing the right arm towards the back of the left leg. Left arm extends overhead, coming into a bit of a twist. On your next exhale, come back up to center. Start putting your weight into your right foot. Come up to stand and bring your left leg up with you, drawing the knee in towards the chest. You can hang on to the back of the left thigh or the front of the left shin. Standing up tall, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Imagine rooting that right foot into the ground. And very slowly, we'll be moving into tree pose. Start to rotate the left knee open towards the left side of your mat. And you can let the foot rest either below the knee or above the knee, but not at the knee joint. Hands can go at heart center, or you can lift them overhead for a little bit more of a challenge. Keep pressing into the ground with the right foot, and see if you can lift up a little taller out of the lower back. You can release the left foot and come to stand with feet hip-width distance apart. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead, and on your exhale, sweep the arms down and come into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing the hands to the shins. Shoulders are rolling back, spine is long. Exhale, release into a forward fold. Let the upper body be heavy. You can bend generously in the knees, even pedaling out the feet, stretching deeper into the hips. You can bend into the knees a little bit more so that way the hands can reach to the ground. And stepping back into downward dog. Arms are long, let the head hang heavy. Tailbone is lengthening towards the sky. Extend the left foot back, straight and squared. And draw that left knee in towards the chest and step it between the palms. With strong legs, lift up into a crescent lunge. Arms go overhead. Tailbone is lengthening towards the floor. Coming into a twist, right arm extends out in front of you, and left arm extends back behind you. Arms are at shoulder level, and palms are facing open towards the left side of the mat. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, and lengthening through the spine. And we'll reverse our crescent lunge. Left arm drops down to your right leg. Right arm extends overhead, stretching through the side body. Come back to neutral. Start to bring the weight into the front foot. Bringing the right knee in with you, come up to stand. You can hold on to the back of the right thigh or the front of the right shin. Keep pressing into the left foot. Try to stand up a little bit taller. Keep relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Balancing on that left leg, Start to rotate the right knee out towards your side and place the right foot to the inside of the left leg, either above or below the knee, but not on the knee joint. Coming into tree pose. Arms either at heart center or overhead. Keep rooting into the standing leg, spreading the toes wide. Try to lift up a little taller. You can release the right leg to the ground so the feet are hip-width distance apart. You can shake out the legs if you'd like. On your next exhale, release the upper body and come into a forward fold with a generous bend in the knees. Take any variation you'd like, making any final movements before we close our practice. Bend a little deeper into the knees so the hands can reach the ground, and step back into plank pose. Shoulders are over the wrists, the feet are hip-width distance apart, lengthening through the heels. Puff up between the shoulder blades and keep rolling the shoulders down and away from the ears. Body is in one long line. Keep a calm, steady breath. We're only here for 3, 2, and 1. You can drop your knees down to the floor. Coming into a child's pose, you can bring the big toes together to touch. Hips can be hip-width distance, or you can widen them towards the outside edges of your mat. Bring the weight of your hips towards your heels and start to walk the hands out in front of you. Let the head and the arms rest heavy on the mat. Taking just a few breaths here. Walk the hands back in and come to lie down on your back. You can start to bring the knees in towards the chest, widening your knees towards your armpits. You can stay here, or to come into happy baby, you can grasp onto the feet or the big toes. Elbows are along the inside of the knees, bringing the knees down and away from the midline. Try to keep the shoulders and the back of the neck long, pressing into the mat. And try to relax through the shoulders, breathing into the sensation you're feeling in the legs and hips. Try to draw the knees down and away a little further. And release, bringing the feet back to the mat. Coming into a twist, you'll shift the hips over just a couple inches towards the right before letting the knees drop over towards the left side of the mat. Right shoulder blade is pressing into the mat, and right arm can extend out towards the side, gazing wherever's comfortable. Using core strength, bring the knees back up to center. You can shift your hips over a few inches towards the left now, and let the knees drop over towards the right side of the mat. This time, left shoulder blade is pressing into the mat, and left arm extends out towards the side. Gaze can be up towards the sky or over your left shoulder, whatever's comfortable. And using core strength, come back up to center. You can squeeze the knees in towards the chest one last time, taking any final movements before heading into Shavasana. You can let the arms and legs out long, palms facing up towards the sky. You can let the feet fall open towards the sides. You may need to untuck the tailbone so the lower back is long, and maybe move the shoulder blades down the back a little. Feeling the difference from the beginning of class. I invite you to stay here as long as you'd like. If you're ready to come out of it, you can start making some smaller movements before rolling onto one side and pressing yourself back up to seated. Thank you for practicing with me today. If you liked this video, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. It helps support free yoga on the internet. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.